All right, people, greetings. Hello, everybody. Tommy Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. Co-host Tina Bird. I'll let her say hi. Hi,
Hello,
Tina.
everybody. I'm Tina Bird here from Southampton in the UK. And my co host today is Tommy Hawksblood in the Big Island of Hawaii. And just to start the show, I'd like to apologise for last week, a bit of a technical glitch. I went to a hospital appointment and they seemed to want to keep me in the hospital for a little while longer as I was unwell. But hopefully, touch wood, it's working itself out. But yeah. I've survived and I'm okay till now. But it's good to be back, Tommy.
Hello, everybody. We do a lot of things on this show, like prove Tina's exposed to radiation uh, and how it affects her as well. But there's a lot of things going on around. I'm in Hawaii, and I don't know if they're spraying more chemicals in the chemtrails, what they're doing, but it's like everybody I talk to sick has something going on. And it's a common thing now that somebody in your family is sick right now. So outside of that, the crime is escalating around the planet greatly. I mean, there's riots and you name it. We're in serious trouble, people. And if we think aliens are going to come down and say, hey, everything's okay, I'll make everything rosy, you're dreaming. I just saw a link go up. Mr. Greer is doing a workshop tonight. Everybody pull it out. Try to watch it. See what bull he's selling tonight. I wrote a bunch of letters on it already. All right. And he's talking about bring back the old days. I said, what old days? When we didn't have any kind of God or we were killing. When are you going to bring back? I don't know. Just listen to see the title. I mean, these people are delusional in great ways. Everybody that I'm listening to now, I wrote 10 letters to the Pope, to Dalai Lama, Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra in the past week. But, nobody's talking about the real truth, which I try to bring out, which Tina and me talk about. What's really happening? Do we care what the government's doing 20, 50, 100 years ago? Do we really care what they did with aliens? Is it going to help us? The only thing most say, oh, well, they really know that there's aliens there. But that's not going to help us either. What they're doing to people is all that matters. And the government's not going to tell us. They can't tell the world that they can't defend them, then defend us from that. Tina's the biggest example, the most important example of that I know. And we're bringing that truth out. Whether you want to hear it or not, you can listen to all the lies about all the good aliens and they're going to help us and all this other stuff. But they're not people, and they're not doing anything positive. They're not doing anything to help us. And it's people like Tina that are getting the effects. Now, I mentioned it last time about the person that was given 100 abductees that the government had, and they wanted him to get in touch with the people, analyze them, and see what's going on. But they're not going to come out publicly and talk about that. If he didn't, Gary Knoll, and he put it on a famous host site, but that's only one speck of truth coming out. But it's still his viewpoint because he said 80% have some kind of mind problem. In other words, not really abducting, but he did say 20% are abducted. I mean, he admitted that because he couldn't prove any different. So what the government does with that information, who knows? But they're sure not going to come out and say, we found a protection for people so they can't get abducted. That's not going to happen anytime soon. And the abduction rate's escalating. And then we got that other horrible word called experiences. All these people getting abducted. Oh, it was a great trip. Oh, they took me here and there. They showed me all this stuff. What they're going to do for us? I'm tired of living in La La Land. Now, even the Dalai Lama came out and said, look at beautiful, check it out. Everything's beautiful. Everything's rosy. He said, what planet are you on? I said, you look at, the old saying, rose-colored glasses. I said, I think they're using blacked out glasses where they don't see anything. I mean, if you look at every country, something's going on. The earthquake chart is incredible. Ever in history, I've been following it since the 1900s. I got all the charts all the way up to now. Over the past 2 years, it's been escalating. But over the past 3 months, we have maybe 25 earthquakes that are, 20 roughly, that are 4.9 and 5.1. Plus, we have 3 almost every day that are 5.9, 6.2.
New Zealand, on that note, New Zealand's super volcano has been escalated to 1, hasn't it? they don't think it's going to have a super eruption, but it's been escalated because it's normally it's like zero and it's been like dormant for thousands of years. It's like gone off a couple of times, had tantrums, but they reckon it's nearing to come into eruption. But this last week, this last 4 days, I think 5 days, I've been following it. They put it up to category 1 for eruption. That's a super volcano in New Zealand. Just put New Zealand in volcano, and you can see that they've put it up to 1 from 0. So they've taken it very seriously as a volcanic super eruption notice. But people should be asking, not only that, Yellowstone summit rose a few years ago and it has been rising slowly. Now they said, I think it was like it worked out every 725,000 years or whatever. They said we're not near an eruption. But when I worked it out from the last eruption, it's 56 years away. So between nearly a million years and whatever it is, we're only in the light of things, 56 years is nothing. So we're due for massive eruptions. But what people don't seem to realise, it wasn't until later on in life after I came out, I was beginning to understand things and look at things from other people's point of view to understand what was going on in the world and how things worked. But the last time we were in this part of the universe, if I'm kind of correct, if I'm not, please tell me. I'm not an expert. This is from my understanding of what's going on. Last time we were in this part of the universe is when the asteroid hit the Earth that supposedly wiped the dinosaurs out. Now saying that was with a volcano as well. But as the Earth goes around, it goes like this, peaks and troughs. But as it goes up, which is what we're in the process of doing now in this part of the universe, it is why we're seeing all the fireballs and meteors in the sky, because obviously in this part of space, something's obviously happened at one time and we've come round in it again. But on that note, we have the meteor we've been seeing in the sky for a little while here in the UK. They've been seeing fireballs and some smaller asteroids fly past Scotland. Now one has gone a bit further past the UK and over and struck Germany. And they've been seeing it in Germany, which is just on the other side of the Eurasia continent, where the British Isles just above. For those who don't know, we've got the Faroe Islands above us, and then we have the Arctic Circle. Below us is France. To the side of us is Belgium. The other side of that, obviously, is Russia. But between France is Germany, and it's been across there. So it's gone straight across the sky, straight past us and into Germany. So it's been Northern Hemisphere strikes. We can see the thing in the sky here plain as day. Go outside, and even on a cloudy night, it's so bright, it's outshining everything in the sky. So foreign bodies that big do have a gravitational force on the Earth, obviously causing earthquakes, and you obviously get tectonic plate movement as well. So it's not an exact science, but that's my understanding of what's going on at the moment. And if that asteroid is coming closer to Earth, then that could be, I'm not saying that is, but that could be a trigger. Now, and the other thing that Tommy also mentioned, Tommy's actually quite correct. Me and Tommy aren't anti-alien. We're anti-alien. We want more protection for us, the human race. Now, we're not saying that these aliens are all bad guys. We are just going on our experiences. We can't change that. That's the fact. That's what's happened. That's what we've seen, and that's what we've experienced. We are just sharing our experiences to warn you that it's not all like airy fairy and light. These people are claiming that's happened, or they've seen the light and they've done this and this. That has never been the case for me or Tommy, and that's never been the case for other abductees. I think I've spoken to more male abductees than female abductees. And from what the men have said, it's just been just as harrowing for them. And none of it's been airy fairy light, and spoken to 27 different races. Even Travis Walton said that he had an altercation with a couple that were just trying to calm him down on the ship. But it's not about we're saying it's negative and we shouldn't be talking to them. You don't know what you're getting into. You don't know what you're drawing to the Earth. And we can only warn you. We would not want to. It's like older parents or parents telling children, don't do that because this happens. And it's not till this happens. You think, well, why didn't you tell me? We're telling you now. This is a consequence of what's happened to me and Tommy. So basically, if you want to put it on a larger scale, I think that we watered it down quite a lot there. On a larger scale, you can look at it another direction, like a two-edged coin. On one side, you've got all the good aliens, but then they can't be all good aliens, because if you turn around on the other side of the coin, there's not really bad aliens, but if they're scientists, if they're doing things they're not telling you about covertly. And these are accidentally, because I don't think they're deliberately doing it, but they don't care. They don't care or don't know that they're hurting us. I think they know that they're hurting us, but in their eyes, it's for their greater good. It doesn't help us or excuse what's been happening to abductees. And people are afraid of the truth. But what me and Tommy are telling you is the truth. This is what happened to us, and this is what happens to abductees. So, as Tommy said, look, there is a fine line between different things and different stages and different things that happen. So, unless you're a true abductee and this has happened to you, and I'm not saying we're special, we're not. When I was up there, Tommy, look, he was protecting his brother. So there's other people present. When you're in a situation and you're a child or you're alone or you're an adult, it doesn't exclude the fact that a foreign entity is coming into our atmosphere under the guise of night, taking vulnerable children, taking your children. How would you feel if that's your child now in front of you? Me and Tommy were children when this happened to us, and it continued throughout our lives. So when this happens, the government's not protecting us. The county sheriff or the police aren't protecting us. Special services aren't protecting us. NASA's not protecting us. And the worst of all is there's rumours over the years of collusion. Now, regardless of what both sides can learn about science, I'm not saying, we did the same thing to animals. We've all got to hold our hands up to that. But it's tantamount to war crimes against humanity for letting it go on for so long. Now, I'm not putting a bad spin on this or want to incite any kind of behaviour, but it needs to be looked at. And if they are generally saying they've come such a long way, if Tommy will agree with me, to come out and say yes, they're all now agreeing. In our point of view, it's too little too late. Should have done it at the time and kept going at the time. By now, I think we would have been more used to it and expected and know things that could or possibly happen to you. But no one's prepared for this. So we've opened up a can of worms. They know this is coming. It's finite over the top of it. Hold your hands up, which they're doing now. They're saying origin and intent. If they want to wipe the slate clean, that's fine. But they not only do they need to do origin and intent, because they probably need to know both. It's different in every human being. It's going to be different with every race they encounter. We're not denying that, but they should be more. If they can't stop them, fair enough. Just say, which they are holding their hands up to now, we're no match for them. Not a problem. But then they should be putting something else in place to help the population who this has happened to. They should be putting more programs aside for people like Tommy, people to get outreach, to get help, people with fertility problems, because this happened to people with cancer problems, pain treatment, any kind of treatment. They should be putting more of this in place, not less than making it harder and difficult for people, for things. Something is coming, whether it be asteroids, aliens, the end of the world. The world, like Tommy said, is going to pot. You can't get appointments. There's violence everywhere, and there's cited violence everywhere, deliberate violence. There've been withdrawal services, not just here, across the world. Refugees are spreading across the world, or are they being pushed? We can't blame normal, common people for this. The people at fault for this are the governments, the people that lead us, the people we vote for and put in charge. So there's been no explanation of this, no recourse for this, and who's holding them accountable? People having rights because they don't understand or don't like the situation they're in because of something that's out of their control, caused by a higher power. Now, somewhere along this broken chain and this jigsaw has to be put back together. If it's not, we're going to implode, which is what's happening at the moment. They need to do something drastically on a global measure to either put us together in cohesive circumstance to heal us all, or put something in place to help us. It's got to be one or the other to give us a start. You've got all this technology and everything else. It's worthless if there's no one here to come back to save. What and who are you saving, Tommy? So that's where I stand. You're on silent still. Take yourself off.
The problem with what's going on right now, there's more abductees happening around the planet. People that I know, but here in Hawaii, it's a little bit different. A lot of the people are just seeing the ships, and I'm talking about the ships that go into the ocean. All right, never mind the ones that are flying over us. I have 6 people roughly, all looking at the sky when it's clear at night. Every one of them tells me they see something different, something really bizarre, something crazy. Uh, I gave somebody a camera, but they couldn't work it. But the truth is, when I go out, I can film anything. Usually 2 to 3 ships in an hour, a half hour. Never mind this light ship that keeps blinking at me. So there's so much going on, and nobody is talking about it. I mean, yeah, you go to the homeless people on the beach, and they say, "Yeah, we saw a big blue orb go into the ocean, or saw one come out." Now, my other
They
friend,
are attracted to volcanic movement, aren't they? Anything like volcanic movement, or from what I understand and what I've seen and what they've showed me, they are attracted to volcanism.
and they're starting to feel that the volcanoes starting to shake again here. But again, these things that people are seeing are happening all over the island. And if we could see that much in one day or one week, I mean, the whole world is a big place. So it's happening around the planet, not just over Hawaii, not just over one state, the whole planet. Now, Mexico, I want to bring this up. Somebody asked me about proof and things like that. Why is Mexico so hot? I said, over the past 2 years, a good friend of mine has money and bought these artifacts that they're finding in Mexico. They're digging and they're constantly pulling out statues of carved aliens and things like that. They got a carving of the history of the planet. They got all these things that were put underground a long time ago. Hundreds of them, not like one, two, and they're all scattered all over the grounds that they're digging in. So it wasn't like one person went out there and buried a couple or things like that. But for that to be that populated, I mean, Mexico is one of the places where they actually film ships going in and out of the volcano. I know when I first came to Hawaii about 20 years ago, a friend I made right then and there said, "Look, I got pictures of ships going in and out of the volcano. You want to see them?" It took me about 2 months to go over his house to see them, but they were really hazy and stuff. He goes, "Let's do a movie." I said, "They're not clear enough, and they're not. I don't think they're at any kind of quality where we could do anything really important with them." Uh, but it's been going on. It's not new. This whole idea of aliens. Oh well. Now, what I want to say on that, you probably won't ever really believe it until you see something or experience something. Yeah, 90% of people say they believe in UFOs, but not here on the planet. Oh, we believe alien races must be out there, but not here on this planet. So yeah, they're living in a place where maybe, okay, probably. They're not in a place where you're definitely. And if the government came out and showed a ship and showed what they're doing, it might wake people up, but they're not ready to do that. And I don't think they have a reason to do it. We have a serious problem happening to the planet called UN Agenda 21-30, which means they're going to try to eliminate people, control the planet, and all that. So they don't want to bring out aliens and talk about that, except
Don't
somebody like
need to
Stephen
do
Greer.
that. It's been coerced into it, and it's falling apart right before everyone's eyes.
Yeah, well, Mr. Stephen Greer is the rebel in my life, going on about talking to the aliens, and we all need to. We need to eliminate the government. You know, uh, when did aliens ever run the planet in any good way? He can't even prove that at any level, because of all my lifetimes, the only one I can remember that was the most important one, the second most important one I ever had, was Atlantis. And that whole continent was taken out by alien races, 2 different alien races. So to say what, anytime after that, we never were in a good place.
I think there's one big issue as well that people are missing in all of this is we bang on about not being protected and not looking after it and loss of life. But I don't think ufologists and even abductees families and all these people of light, and I'm not bashing that, some of it is probably true, like they say, abductees. But we have hundreds of thousands of soldiers across the centuries, even millions of soldiers that have died in the defense of defending the human race against abduction and aliens. you lost at least, was it 25 or 28 Delta Force soldiers in the Phil Schreiber incident.
No,
Now,
that was like 68 people.
yes, so 68 people in one. That was just in one incident. Just the massive loss of life in that one incident. How do you think their families feel and see and hear when they see this and hear this, or their grandchildren? You know, they must feel anger, but
no, Tina, on that,
basically
seriously,
losing people on both sides.
you think the government told the families what really happened?
No, but they know the families aren't stupid. They know that. Families talk. I know that my husband was I don't know, just sent to the he's out on detachment in the Mojave Desert, and I know he's going to be there for like 3 months, and I know what he's doing because he comes home and leaves. And when he went back again, he died. It doesn't take two and two together. 20 years later, when Mr. Schreiber comes out, or 10 less than that, wasn't it? A few years later and say, hold on, all these the last doubtful soldier. Well, hold on, there's not that many doubtful soldiers in the US out on detachment that died. This didn't happen during any war. So for them to lose 68 soldiers in non-wartime in one go, in one day, bells got to ring. Army wives speak to each other. Doubtful soldiers' wives speak to each other. And when they see stuff on YouTube and the internet and people that worked alongside their loved ones come forward and say, this happened, it doesn't take two and two to put together. You know, they know what's gone on. They know. They may not have said, you know, if just suppose you had a son and he was a doubtful soldier, you lost him on the same day that Philip Schreiber said we lost 68 doubtful soldiers in the Mojave Desert, let's just say, on that day. You're going to know that that was your son.
Well, you know, we've been going over this a lot. I mean, we talk about ancient history. We don't need it now. We need present knowledge, present things of what's going on.
Yeah, sure.
But funny, in the UFO world, you don't hear any speakers talking about the actual wars we had. Very few people will actually bring up Phil Schneider. And it's like, why not? John Ford's in the nut house in Long Island. Nobody talks about that. He shot the best video ever shot of a UFO crash. And nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to deal with it or find it or see it. I did. But, you know, the truth is there, and I say it over and over. I mean, like the X-Files said, the truth is out there, and it is.
Well, actually, you've got... So people laugh and make jokes about, like Tommy said, you see homeless people on the beaches or people that live outside will see things more, not because they're drunk or taking drugs, because they're outside more. They're outside an environment where they're seeing it. Now, I watched something interesting today. I was home off, to and from the doctors and hospital whatever today, and I had a half an hour spare, and I watched something that came up on the television, and it's so this is what applied to Tommy and everyone else. This happened in the USA in recent years. It's called the Sutton family case. They were from Kentucky. Now, the gist of it is, now please, I'm not damning anybody, their religion, it's just the terms of that people were using. Now, this was a sheriff speaking, and there's a local sheriff in Kentucky. He said, can you picture this? If at the time, I was like a desk clerk, a desk sergeant on duty, 11 o'clock at night. All of a sudden, you get two huge trucks zooming down the road, head on towards the police station. They stop outside. 11 hillbillies get out the car, run into your police station, loaded up with automatic weapons. What are you going to think? So he said, it's not hillbillies look after themselves. Excuse the term hillbilly. I don't know how else to put it or what else, the terms that it was meant by the sheriff. He said, in what part of the world would you ever see a hillbilly? They look after their own. They sort their home out. They're never no trouble. They keep amongst their own people or whatever. So I'm not against anybody like that. So please excuse the term. He said these people were frightened. He said they said an alien craft. He said they were minding their own business at their own home in the woods. There were 2 or 3 families. They left family there, but 11 of them that had guns went to get help. So that tells you how bad this situation. They were fully loaded with shotguns, automatic weapons, revolvers, the lot. 11 of these men in 2 huge trucks went to the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office took this very seriously, picked up the phone. They phoned, apparently, now get this, the nearest base was 20, I want to say 20 miles away. They were there in 3 or 4 minutes. It's impossible to travel 20 miles in 3 or 4 minutes. They must have been tracking this object. He said there was police, state troopers, army, air force, and these people from the nearest military base. Everybody was out there. Everyone turned up on these people's property. When they went there, the testimony from everyone, including 11 people inside the house. He said the house, they've got photographs, they've got footage. The house was shot to bits. They were stood inside, fortified their house. He said the shotgun blasts going outside of the wooden shutters of the house, outside in the trees. It was absolutely covered. Then they went to the bit in the forest where the ground was on fire or it was glowing, where this thing actually touched down. And they said this saucer landed 300 feet behind their house in the woods. And loads, not one or two, loads of these little creatures got out. He said they ran towards the house. First couple of people saw him, started shouting for help. The others ran out with guns and started shooting. They then retreated inside the house, and it was like a firefight. As soon as they started running out of ammunition, they didn't know what was going on. They sent for help. Now the sheriff said, how bad do you think it was for 11 hillbillies to leave their family, men, and come into town? They actually had men, women, and children with them as well, and going to a sheriff's office. He said they took it very seriously. He said for days, men in suits turned up afterwards and with no credentials, were taking samples of the woods, talking to the family. They went out even today. They went out in a modern day. We're talking, this is modern day, within a few years ago. Went out with metal detectors still today, finding bullets in the surrounding area. They haven't lived in the house since. The family, the actual woods where what happened, is in trust now. The sister owns it. One of the elder sister owns the farmland. The house was left derelict, and they went out, and the forest had overgrown a bit, but the bit where the saucer landed is not even been overgrown. It looks dead. So they went out there with a metal detector at night, and they were all day and all night picking bullets out and casings from all these trees. They let off so many rounds that they didn't know. But it was never after that. On the fourth day, the family was spoken to, is investigated. That they weren't served with notices. They weren't apologised to. The family was left alone. No follow-up, nothing from the army, nothing from the Air Force, nothing from the Men in Black, and nothing from the Sheriff's Department. But they all admitted that they went out there to this house to see what they call like a firefight with something in the forest. So you've got all the military people and the Men in Black saying, yes, this happened. And even the Sheriff's Department still today talk about it. And you've got the family saying it as well. But then there's no official reports after that been filed. What does that tell you?
People, it's time that you take your own responsibility of what's happening. You need to get your information. You need to find out what's real and really happening. We can only tell you things. I have tons of pictures, but I can't legally put them up. The person I shot him with, copyrighted him, told me he's going to take me to court. But personally, offline, email me. We'll do it on a site, and I'll show you some pictures of stuff. Because basically, you need to see real pictures of a ship, not Tic Tacs. Tic Tacs are nothing compared to a picture of a real ship. John Ford's video is an actual UFO crashed on Long Island. The bodies were laying around it. Black trailers went in and out of there for 3 weeks, and they kept it surrounded. They kept saying it was on fire. It wasn't on fire, all right? And Long Island's flatland. It's not like it's a jungle, mountains, and anything like that. There's no way a fire could last more than 2 or 3 days, never mind 3 weeks. So the story is ridiculous. And then to top it off, they said this person had uranium and he was going to kill people in Congress. They said he had a barrel of uranium. John Ford. So people, listen to what they tell you. Does it make any sense? He was going to put it in toothpaste and kill people in government, in Congress and stuff. Really? He's going to walk around with uranium, break in their house and put it in their toothpaste. What a ridiculous story to tell people. And that's how they ended it. Flight I'm bad with numbers. I think it was 300. 900. Man, I'm lost. But the flight that was over Long Island that crashed and went into the ocean. Well, we saw it when it was in the sky. It blew up. Then they were trying to say, well, it must have been a fire. They never said anything. But that night, when it happened, showed you the ship blow up. And then they said, oh, there's something wrong with the radar, and they cut it off the TV. And they never showed that clip again. So, sometimes it's right in front of our face and we ignore it. 9/11 is never going to be exposed. Want to see something? Let me show you something real fast. A friend of mine who is totally into everything said, I have to read this book. Let's see if I can get it up on the screen. I don't know if you can see it, but this was a top person in bachelor's, MS, PhD. The evidence directly, free energy technology, and all that. And it's got pictures, graphs, the actual quake charts and everything when it happened, how it's impossible for what happened to happen. It's an incredible book if you really want the facts on that. I gave up. But even Mr. Putin said to Mr. Trump, he said it on Russian TV, that I want you to tell the truth about what happened, which we will never see or hear. Now, on Coast to Coast, if you remember, showed a video of a ship, UFO, going through the building while it exploded. All right. Then they brought Phil Snyder, one of the guys from the Montauk book. Oh, I can't think of his name. Basically, he was brought in to analyze the rubble. And what he said, there was not one speck or piece of a computer, bodies, or anything. Impossible. In other words, it was three theories, but two of them, one was the ship went through it and took all the people out of it. All right. The other one, all the people were disintegrated. So, and the only bodies they did find was on the bottom that wasn't actually in the part which actually exploded and everything else.
I think they found some on rooftops that from the initial explosion, didn't they?
Well, the building, the third building, which actually went down the same way, was another impossibility. I was there. It was cloudy for 2 weeks, and all those people were being exposed to toxins. But those people are dying. A lot of the firemen are dying, and all the things that went around it are dying. But they will never admit what really happened, whether aliens were involved with that, really or not. Now, we know that the ships were being followed across the United States, and each state called the next state saying, hey, there's a plane coming your way. There's a plane coming. Nobody did anything. They never got the ships up until it was ready to hit the building. I mean, for them to let it hit the Pentagon was really crazy. I mean,
yeah, but if you think about it now, Tommy, we're saying this now. This is coming. This is happening. This is coming, and no one's doing a damn thing about it.
See, that's the problem.
It's the same thing, all right? Yeah, it's the ticking time bomb. It's all happening again.
We know nothing about truth, or nobody will tell us. Now, I bring this up a lot. 16 of my mostly good friends, one was pretty much a friend, not a super friend, all disappeared. I'm not going to go into the details of each one, but the one that was just released out of jail is sick and dying. But he's also the one that discovered Area 51. What they did to him, how they tortured him, and they finally let him out of jail because they can't take care of him because he's dying. But again, people, during my years in the UFO world, the top people in the UFO world that were speakers then are gone. All right. Now, in 1996, you can find out, but it was not every famous name of UFO people. They took out almost 180 UFO people. They also took out about 100 top scientists that 1 year.
Oh, I heard about that. It was out. I think something like that hit the papers here in the UK that all these scientists have mysteriously died.
Well, whatever, you know why? They released the virus, they released these things, and they don't want nobody to have the cure for it. Now, I just found this out. I do my research. I read, listen to everybody preaching, telling stories, whatever. In the United States, we have 12 buildings, for a word, creating viruses with no cure. They can't tell you where they are. They won't tell you where they are. But they admitted they have them. Why would you create a virus without a cure for it?
Well, viruses come into our planet every day in microorganisms pass into our stratosphere and atmosphere.
We're talking about viruses that kill
Yeah.
societies. And this whole thing about what happened, you can't say anything about this virus because then you go to jail, you lose your sights and everything else. Uh, it's real restricted, the real information, but it's there. Pull it up. There's a couple things. I mean, when Kennedy came to when he left the United States to come to Hawaii, he said anybody that gets the virus injection, the vaccine, must in a heart attack. Guess what? 2 weeks later, my partner had a heart attack, died 3 times. All right, she survived. After that, had to have a pacemaker put in. But he came out and put his life on the line. He put a book out on it. All right, Kennedy's, and I know there's a lot of different stories. Let's go back to President Kennedy, why he was killed. They cover up the truth on that so many different ways, so many different things. The same as Marilyn Monroe. The week before she was killed, supposedly committed suicide, she had the documents and was going to release what Kennedy told her about UFOs. So that whole thing was destroyed and taken out. And you're talking about the president of the United States. So, and when Stephen Greer comes out and goes, wait, let me just say this. When Stephen Greer comes out and says, they offered me $2 billion to walk away from the UFO world. Does anybody on this planet believe that? Call me up. Let me talk to you.
I mean, I can't believe they offered him that because there's I think there may be more US presidents that actually made UFO reports, if I'm not mistaken. I think John F. Kennedy was one of them, was he not?
What, offered money?
No, made UFO reports. So if
he was
presidents are making UFO reports, they're certainly not going to pay somebody not to talk about it if the United States of America is making an actual UFO report.
He was going to come out with it.
Is he making it up? Is he abducted?
Well, no. The whole thing, he was with Marilyn Monroe. So he told her things. And she said she wanted to release it. So Kennedy died. She died. And guess we never heard any of that story. They found some of the documents and everything. But even then, even Tesla, I got to see part of his document when he said he worked with aliens. But again, well, prove it. I couldn't take those documents. I mean, when people say proof, I mean, now even Lear, not Lear, the other person that they're coming down and say he was fake. He wasn't really inside the where the aliens were and all that stuff. But the problem is,
Bob Lazar.
Yeah, well, they're claiming everything was fake, that he was just a janitor. Well, he might have been snooping around.
I believe his story. I think because
they showed pictures of him. They actually have the pictures of him now and everything. But again, a janitor has the right to go in rooms at night and clean them up and all these things. He could have stolen a lot of stuff. Exactly. But they won't admit that either. So,
it's like they're saying about abductees. The same rule applies to abductees. I wasn't the only one. When I was up there was hundreds of people up there. One of these, wherever they took me, there was hundreds of human beings, hundreds of people awake, but they were asleep. I cannot be the only one. That's just the one time. Hundreds of people up there. So I know I'm not the only one. There's hundreds. There must be at least one of them like me that was either awake or.
You're talking about what? One day?
Yeah, one experience when I was on that travelator, the thing, the travelator about. When I was on that, they had hundreds of people. I wasn't the only one. And they moved me in front of this light. They sedate human beings by this light and the pheromone in this light, whatever they were doing. And as I moved along, this thing turned. I couldn't move or turn. I didn't see what was holding us up at first. It was this hook. Well, it looked like a hook. I couldn't see. I was moving forwards. I was looking forwards, but moving kind of sideways. And as it turned like that, I caught out the corner of my eye here. There was a bloke next to me. Man next to me, and he was at the same angle I was, so I couldn't see his face. I could just see this bit of it, this bit here, and behind he had short brown dark hair here because he's here. Couldn't see this bit of the face. That's all I could see. But because he was there, I was able to see the back of his head and going down, and the person next, like that way, because it wasn't in a straight line. As we went round, it didn't look straight. I'm not sure if it was going off or like a round like that. And it was this looked like a silver pole that came down from this thing we were on. and it looked like a fish hook, but split, and it went down the neck and the back between the shoulders and underneath the arms, and it was like holding these humans, holding us all up. And every time we move with it, but there are, you're awake looking forward, but nothing was happening. And there was hundreds of people up there, and that one time, hundreds of people. So when people say, "Oh, you're the only one, you're a nutter, you're this, you're that," well, you think, well, no, I'm probably the only one to come forward, but there's hundreds of other people just in one go. So this is a global phenomenon, and truth be told, you've probably been taken, and you don't even realise it. You're one of the lucky ones. There's something different or better about you than there is me to not remember that.
Two things, Tina.
Yeah.
The first thing I want to ask you is, hypnotist to work with you yet?
So no, not yet. But once we were over COVID and everything, my bestie got married this year, which put everything back, of course, with my bad health and that. So we're hoping, I'm going to try and arrange something towards the end of the year, but I am actually going, hopefully, to Manchester. I'm meeting Whitley Schreiber, the guy that wrote the Communion.
Right, I know who he is.
Back. Yeah, I'm actually, hopefully, touch wood. It depends on if I'm allowed to. I'm trying to look for someone who can drive me up there and back.
Is he a hypnotist?
No, but I'm looking forward to have it done. I want it done, and I want it recorded.
Well, the reason why I would love to talk to the hypnotist that works with you before you do it.
Yes, I've got his card up here. The gentleman that's going to do it. And there's got a few people present, but yeah, I want it recorded. They're all going to record it, and
you should do it on YouTube live.
I don't know about live. I don't want to look like an idiot screaming and shouting.
No. You want to put the truth out there. You don't want to cover up what's really going on.
I think I want to see it first. I
want to censor it.
No, I don't want to censor it. For years, like it took a lot. I wasn't even going to bother coming forward. It took a lot for me to come forward, and now I don't care. I've had so much backlash from it, and I don't care. I thought, well, no, this is it. But I was terrified at first, just to seek help, and you shouldn't have to feel like that. To ask for help for you or for a partner just for help is ridiculous, and there's nowhere to go. Abductees don't have recourse; they don't have help. That's the hardest thing to get over, and it's quite sad, really. And then once you manage to overcome that and battle it and sort through everything to get the help you want, years pass. It's not like months and you refer to someone. Years can pass. You're grasping information that is not at hand and that should be. But so and you get the pros and cons, and I've never had anything done like that to me. And it wasn't until I met Travis Walton. I've seen things like I got kind of on telly and things like that, and I spoke to Travis Walton. So and he kind of changed my mind actually, because I spoke to him about it, and he said, "Tina," he said, "if you're going to have it done," he said, but he took so many lie detector tests, and he was also hypnotized. But after I'm not sure it was at the second time. I can't remember what he said. He said they wanted to go back further. He said, but at that time he'd had an episode or a heart attack in his life, and they say once you die or they can't revive you, when they regress you back to that point or past that point, they don't know what's going to happen. That's what worried me. But luckily, 2 of these experiences happened after I had my ectopic pregnancies. So there's at least 2 I definitely know I can go back and look at, which is they're the ones I want to explore first before I'm willing to go further back, if you're with me. So I want to do one and experience these last 2 in the last 10 years. And then because I had my major surgery, I was allergic to anesthetic and things went sideways.
In the UFO world, people love to believe famous people.
But no, I wasn't going to have it done. So no, from what he said, I am going to have it done, but only to the point where I had this mishap with my surgery. But after my surgery, unfortunately enough, I had these 2 events. So the 2 ones that I don't like. I remember them coming in I remember them being in the room. I remember them taking my partner. I remember them putting me back. I remember the blue green light in the room, but I don't remember anything else. So that's the one I want looked at. And so I want everything I can from that. And the other one was all the information. When I woke up, I was at my mum's house. And when I woke up in the middle of the night, I could see, I was looking at my eyes, and just this one that's got the strange lump, they don't know what it is behind my eye. And they said it was some brain thing that was moving forward. Anyway, I woke up, and for at least a minute or two, all I could see were these like white numbers or numbers shooting across my eye, like a digital thing, like a digital display, and the numbers were going down. And as they just shooting across like that, they seemed to be getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And it was like a 4-digit number on the side. And I want that looked at. So I'm going to have all that done at the same time. I know other people get answers, but I'm doing this for me and my family. So I would like that answered first before I go further back, if you can understand what I'm saying. So if they want to look at things in my life, then fair enough. But I want this looked at first. So that's where I am.
Well, we're coming to that time. I don't know if you want to do it. How are you feeling? You wanted to get out your Geiger counter or no?
Yeah, we'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. So Tommy's always right and normally gets in trouble.
I've got a new TV.
So this is my second one. My first one, I think I dropped in water last Christmas. So Tommy, do you know it's nearly been 3 years, I think.
I bought a new TV.
How have you?
I did. But guess what? It has radiation coming out of it as well now.
Wow.
If I go near the screen, it does. My other TV, it's in my partner's room. And I had to measure it.
This is the one. Tommy's got the identical one. This is this one. And I've got it from Amazon. It was about £20, 18 to £20. This is my second one. So it says here, got to put my glasses on, and I'll tell you exactly what it says because you can't really see it on there. Electrical magnetic radiation tester. So it just picks it up and it tests the air or your surrounding where you are. Just press the red button to turn it on. There it is. Now it's reading the top one. You'll see there it says volts per meter, which is the top one. And the bottom one there, as you can see, the sign from micro Teslas. Okay, there it is there. So when I have a smart screen computer, which means it's not supposed to give off radiation. And as you can see, all electrical magnetic signals, it doesn't. Now, a few weeks ago, not last week was bad, the week before, it was making all kinds of noise near the TV. I don't think it was near the screen. I think sometimes it's me. But when I hold it to me, it normally goes haywire. But we're going to give it a go. Once or twice it hasn't gone off at all. But there you go. So here we go. As you can see, the top one's starting to go already.
Well, mine, I'm picking it. Like I said, I put it over you, and I get radiation on the bottom for a little bit. But it's not normal. If I pull it away from you directly and put it somewhere else, the radiation disappears, which is impossible. But I'm just saying it's happening.
Now I'm going to try this side. Now,
see it or not.
it's going to turn it today.
Well,
so
I turned it around
today. So there we go. So hold on.
For some reason, it's pretty low for me today.
Normally it's higher up.
Mine's usually about 200, and it's only
staying. How can that be? So if I've got nothing by my ear and my neck there, but
it's crazy.
I thought so. It's supposed to be travel around all through your body, not just parts of your body.
Yeah, it's whatever we're doing, we're proving that something's wrong. Nothing about it is
not even
scientifically right. I'm waiting for another scientist to get back to me. Nobody's getting back to me. I give them the evidence. I say, check it out. Check out the Geiger counter and this, that. Do you need pictures of the actual screen of it when it's going off? But nobody's talking about it. Nobody's admitting it. I was hoping if you went to the conference that one of those people might want to help you deal with that. But we'll see. We'll see that when you do your seminar.
That's strange, isn't it?
If somebody could help you, get in touch with you or help you with it. Do you ever try that, like when you're in a different room, Tina?
Yeah.
It still goes off, right?
I went to lay down to go to sleep.
But it did.
Oh my God! He put it on. He was going berserk.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, people,
Oh,
they're
dear.
doing things. We're trying to prove what we do, what we talk about. Now, I don't know anybody else that pulls a Geiger counter out during the show and say, "Hey, look, check out the radiation." But we've been doing that for a while. She has a second one because the other one broke. But we have the same one. Mine's not doing what hers is doing. And everybody says, "Well, it's just no. It's not just. It doesn't do it for anybody else. I
It's
can
just
stand
a normal,
everybody else."
that's normal, but it's not been doctored. It's a normal battery.
But did you say your friend there is getting radioactive as well?
Oh,
See,
my neighbour,
yeah.
he's in
Is he?
hospital.
Oh, he's in the hospital now? For
Yeah, he
what?
went in. Uh, he went in probably about the same time I did.
You know,
He's
I
still in
keep
there.
saying something's going on, and it's just my viewpoint. Aliens are involved with it.
Yeah, my
They made
partner's been
you
walking his dog, and I've been phoning his door. He's still in hospital.
they made you radioactive. Your dog died of radiation poison in the bones. I mean, it's something's wrong, and nobody's going to take credit or admit it or anything. And like I said, we'll see.
Because this is not the hairy fairy, all seeing, all lights, healing your soul kind of perspective. If that happened to me, then great. You know, I wouldn't have sickness. I wouldn't have hair falling out. I wouldn't have bits. I wouldn't have pets dying. I wouldn't have, sickness in my life and all these ills and ails and treatments, prodded
and
and
it's
poking. I wouldn't have any
nonstop.
of that.
It's nonstop for you, Tina, and I know
Yeah.
that. I worry about you every day. I say, hopefully, if those aliens are
Then
keeping you
I
alive,
think people can't understand who just see that they've spoken to all these races, not had radiation sickness, not
see,
had their pets die.
but Tina, that just proves one thing: a lot of it isn't real. Radiation's found when a ship lands. Radiation's found in a lot of sites and stuff. So why wouldn't a person have radiation on them? All right. Now I don't know, like Bud Hopkins, was he working with the people that confessed the stories? But did he check them for radiation? Did he check them for things like? I'm sure he didn't. And they don't want to prove the real important things, like if you're exposed to an alien, you're exposed to radiation. I had so much radiation put on my body in my life. I was next to an alien, but again, I went through X-ray after X-ray, all kinds of different things.
Apparently, so if this doesn't happen, it's not true. But apparently, they can give you a blood test to prove this because it's a different type of radiation. They can give you a blood test that. So they've obviously developed a blood test to know these things, and apparently they can give you a blood test so they know.
Well, there's 5 kinds of radiation, and like you said, some of the cheap machines can't pick it up. I mean, when I go to the tower in town, the one tower, I pick up radiation all through the parking lot. The other tower, which is only like 3 blocks away, there's no radiation around it at all. So whether it's the AT&T versus Verizon, again, one of them is radioactive and one of them isn't. And will they tell us that? Now, I drive with my Geiger counter on. I go past the school going up to town. It goes off crazy. I found out they buried bombs there years ago, and that land was donated to the school. So, and then when Mr. Baggage, Nick Baggage, he deals with the HARP system. He came out, he was the first person to publicly release about it and all that. But basically, I challenged him, and he goes, "Oh, no, there's nothing going on in Hawaii." I said, pull up Waimea High School. It shows you the HARP system on top of the building. It shows you the equipment that got inside the school. So, again, people, nobody digs deep enough or ever, whether they're warned off or told not to. But Nick Baggage's father was killed, taken down in a plane. So he feels that they did take him down for that reason. But when he put up the HARP system site, he said, only the truth can go on here. I said, well, put up Hawaii has HARP system. Oh, you can't prove that. I said, check out the building. I got pictures of what's up on top of the mountain. It's not anything normal. It's not a telescope, that's for sure. It looks like a giant a blender. One of those like top long blenders. It looks just like that. And I said, that's not a telescope. So, and they're still debating on putting the biggest telescope here, which they should. All right. Whether they will or not, the Hawaiian people are trying to fight it, but it would bring tourists in, and maybe we would get more information because they won't admit to UFOs or aliens in the observatory. Everybody that worked there and stuff, we never saw it. I look outside any night, I see them. And you mean you got the telescope looking through the whole universe and you can't see anything? I know if I had a pair of night vision glasses, which I'm still hoping somewhere it'll come to me.
In Southampton, in the UK, if you look up in the sky, when it gets dark out there, the brightest thing you'll see with a little shining halo that looks bigger every night is that chunk of rock coming towards us. And you don't need binoculars for that. You just need a pair of eyes. That's how close it's getting.
Well, I just saw an article where they're saying they're going to blast the meteorite so it doesn't crash into the earth. Well,
I saw that. I actually saw the footage. They had it today, but they didn't show you they said over the next few months they're going to analyze the footage.
They showed. Well, we did send a nuclear bomb and hit it. Whether it was a meteorite or a comet, I'm not sure. I forgot. But they hit it. It did absolutely nothing. No. So the idea that we're going to blow a meteorite before it hits the planet is another delusional. Unless it's a little small rock. But if it's a giant big piece of stone coming towards us, guess what? I mean, we hit the planet with nuclear bombs and we're still here. So hitting something that's coming towards us with it, think it's going to make it disappear? And I'm sure alien races could move it if they need to, if they want to. And I truly feel they don't want to see the Earth disappear. They might want to eliminate a lot of the people on the planet, but they don't want to destroy the Earth because they got too many things that they could use. Aliens do things for a reason. I don't know why people don't understand that. Well, they're good and bad aliens. No, they're not good and bad aliens. They're just an alien race. They're sent here by their teachers, masters.
It's like people. It all depends on what you've grown up or sent to do, doesn't it?
Exactly. When we go to Vietnam, we're there to shoot the other people. When we went to war, we go there to shoot the other people. We don't go there to make friends with them and hang out and bring them back. It's not like that, people. Good or bad. Good people don't kill people.
Humans are a bit like us, but we're scattered. It's like China now. So anyone in the world, if you were even born in Russia, UK, if you were born in, I don't know, the Himalayas, anywhere, you'd know the top scientists in the world were Chinese to look at, say, the panda. So to save the panda, it's indigenous to China. They go there and they look at the Chinese experiments. They look at the food they're growing, the IVF and the medical and scientific treatment. So that's the way we look at that. The aliens look at that as, in the same way. Come to Earth and you'll find humans.
You're running out of time, Tina, so I'm going to let you talk for a couple minutes.
I know, I was just going to say goodbye, but I've...
oh, no, you got to talk. You got to tell us what's happening.
All right, so here in the UK, I think lots of people, again, I think, are seeing things and sightings in the sky. As I said, they've seen, I'm not sure if it's fireboys or asteroids come down across the sky in Scotland, and from Scotland straight across the other side of the UK into Germany. They've had footage of them being seen in Germany now. And if you look up in the sky, and I've seen a couple of other little fragments up there, like I saw something past the Earth, the other side, so north, east, west. It was huge and looked like it was burning. Looked like a chunk of rock in the sky last summer. But this year, that thing over there, if you look up in the sky, it's got a halo around it because it's getting so closer. It's getting very bright. And if you look for it for a pair of binoculars, you can see the bluey-green tail. You can see either the red bit on the front or, depending on what position point, you can definitely see the bluey-green tail behind it or to the side of it because it's coming towards us. So, but you can see, if you look up to the sky in the north to northeast direction in the UK, you see a duller, looks like a star, but it is shining brightly and it will twinkle a bit red now and then. That's actually a chunk of asteroid or meteor. I'm not quite sure what it is. I'm not a thing, but I can actually see that one with binoculars. So just go out there with your good phone, snap a picture. You don't get, I found a good quality with your phone, but binoculars, fantastic, normal pair of stargazer binoculars. But that thing in the sky, you don't need binoculars to see. Just go out anywhere in the northern hemisphere, you should be able to look up, especially here in the UK, and see that thing in the sky. I'm surprised it's been reported on more. So saying that, let's round up this week again. I apologise for not being here last week. I've not been well this last few days, but it's also great. I all do miss you guys. It's great for Tommy and me to come on the show weekly. I think it's been nearly about 3 years, nearly 3 years we've been doing this together. So I'd like to say big thank you to all people that come on the show, people that watch and see us. Next year, we have an Encounters conference in the UK, and we are having in April a conference called Encounters in April. Please go onto Facebook. You'll see Encounters Conference 2023. It's being held in Bishop's Wharf in Southampton in the UK. Please come. It's only £30 a ticket. Gary Heseltine, Vice President of ICAR, he's going to be there. He's the UFO Truth Magazine editor-in-chief, I believe. So he's also coming. He's the next policeman. He's been on Ancient Aliens. He's done it all. Also, you've got David Hodgren's going to be there, a UFO abduction expert. And you're going to have a guy, Andy Thomas is going to be there about another part of phenomenon, which is crop circles. Brilliant guy, top of his field. He's going to be there. And you can have Leroy Wilkins, which is another topic, actually, I think Tommy would like to talk about maybe one day. It's called Greater Communion, I think, or by Marshall Van Summers. So one of his advocates will be coming, and also I'll be speaking as well as Ben Evan Jones. There's plenty of people to come and see. It's a 2-day event on the Saturday and Sunday, so please come. But from me here in the UK, as always, thank you. If you have questions for the show, please email Tommy or message me or come onto the show. If you'd like us to interview you, let us know. If you have news or an answer from a previous show, please just come on and let us know. Tommy's just put his email up and Skype on the comments. So please Skype and message us. Please give us feedback. And I'll hand it back to Tommy to say goodbye. But for me here in Southampton in the UK, it's been great. And I'll see you all next week. Hi, John. Thank you. I'm glad I'm back too. I'll leave you.
I'm glad you're doing good, Tina. Talk to you soon.
Thank you very much. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you, John. Bye-bye. Thank you for my well wishes. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. Tina Bird, great person. Going through a lot with the radiation in her body. It started a while ago when she said she's losing her nails, losing her hair. Her teeth are falling out. She's passing out. All the symptoms of radiation poisoning. So she's not making it up, people. And this whole thing with the Geiger counter, I made her get it. I said, we need a Geiger counter. You need to get one. And we both got one. And she started testing herself, finding out she is. Then she found out when her dog died that it was radiation in the dog's bones. So how'd that happen? She doesn't know, and I kind of feel that the dog might have been taken with her, or it's the effect from her being with the dog. But either way, it affected the dog. Her friends was slightly affected as well. But let's go into a couple other things. I'm going to be doing another show this week on, I would say, spiritual truth, the lies and the stories and everything else that's going on. I'm going to go bring out a certain person who's super famous, multimillionaire because of his book, and it's basically called Conversation with God. All right. I wrote him a long letter, 3 pages long. I said, if he ever gets a pair of balls to come on and debate me, or I'll talk to him offline. But he claims a lot of things. And by his own admittance, he's actually saying that he's a liar. So, I hate lies. I hate liars. I can't deal with them at any level. I'm not a person who say, I'm going to forgive you because you're a liar. No, I'm not. And it's like a thief, a murderer, or whatever, a rapist. You do it once, it's always there, and you could always do it again. And people that go to prison or jail, get out, do it again. And that's proven. Every time they let people out, they let 100 people out in New York City. They all went out and did the same thing, and all were put back within 2 weeks. So people, this isn't a pleasant world, which everybody wants. Things aren't getting better at any level. And I'm going to go over that. But all these New Age speakers, religious people, super famous people, claim all the opposite. We're dimensional beings. We're all these things. Show me one person on this planet. They show you strongmen that have these one ability to do certain things. And people, I don't know what the right word, that have a certain kind of a problem, are really incredible in one thing. Some could just repeat numbers and say it and all that. Some could do certain things, pick up a certain amount of weight. It's a gift, but I don't call them psychic abilities. And if you have a psychic ability, means you have it. It's not like, I'm going to be able to do this maybe one day or so, it might happen. No, a psychic ability means you can do it, and you can do it all the time. levitation, clairvoyancy, and all those words. There's 32 of them. If you can do them, you can do them. And there's nobody on the planet that's even close to being over 10% accurate or 100%. 100%? No, nowhere near it. Never mind 32 different psychic abilities. Nobody on this planet. All right. Aliens have abilities. We used to have all these abilities, but they were taken away. Certain aliens kept certain abilities. And we had them, the ability to transport, go through walls and things like that. It was documented that spiritual people in history did it. By location. All right. That's a possibility. That's real. All right. How many people can do it? For real. Now, remote viewing is very similar. All right. Astral projection's a little bit different, but people don't understand the difference or even know what either one really is. All right. I can go into all that, and I do here and there. But I'm trying to get to the fact that we're in trouble, people, if we believe all these spiritual people saying everything's beautiful, we're becoming higher dimensional beings. I just pulled up an article by the Dalai Lama. Look, everything's becoming beautiful. What? A flower? What's becoming beautiful? I mean, and I wrote him a letter today saying, how could it be beautiful? And are you going to say that to your own country? Can you tell your people in Tibet that everything's beautiful? I bet you can't get one person to say it is. They're going through a takeover by China. They went over through losing 250 temples. A lot of the women were raped. A lot of the guys were put in. And it's beautiful there. How could people say beauty and beautiful or spiritual? Those words do not exist right now. Do I say I'm spiritual? I never do. Never. I say I'm on a spiritual path. When I attain the level that I want, I will leave. I'm there, just about. But I can't leave yet. I got a certain thing I got to deal with right now. I could leave, but I'm not going to. But it will be soon. All right? I don't want to stay here for 10 years. I don't want to stay here for 20 years. I don't want to stay here for 50 years. Those people that do have no idea of God. They have no idea of the spiritual worlds that God created for us, and they'd rather stay in hell. Does that make sense? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But when you're not aware of truth, you go by the programs of what's been programmed to you. All right? And that's pretty sad because the programs that people are dealing with are very lame. Being programmed by the Bible, being programmed by certain tablets and things. I can go into Moses with the 10 Commandments. He didn't even follow them. And they weren't good enough for him. He created 613 laws, but read the Old Testament. Read when he created 613 laws. Read what they are. Have nothing to do with spiritual truth at all. Nothing. So people, when we crystallize and take somebody and make them an idol or make them our God or our deity, or whatever you want to call what you truly worship, what are you doing? Are you creating your own image of what you want it to be? Or do you know what it really is? Do you know what a deity really is? I doubt it. Do you believe in it? Most people that even are Tibetan don't believe in the deity itself. They believe that that's their higher awareness, or whatever words. Like we're all one consciousness to New Age people. We're in a fallacy, a fake created system idea. And now, to top it all off, we're creating artificial intelligence, which will take away the last bit of truth that we truly have or had, and create a new scenario for mankind to live in, the people that get to stay here. So we're getting a lot of trouble coming. And it's not going to disappear because somebody says, I'm a spiritual person. I'm sending love to the planet. It'll change everything. No, it won't. Wishful thinking. I don't live in wishful days or wishful prayers. I live by the truth of what's happening. And you can only protect and guide yourself through that. Trying to change reality? You think you have the right to? This is hell. You think you could go to Mr. Saint and say, hey, I'm going to destroy you. Jesus didn't do it. And you think you can? Sergeant 18, a friend, ex-friend of mine, claims 2034, Jesus comes down and takes out Lucifer. Lucifer's not down here. Lucifer's an angel. He's still one of the highest angels, not because he fell from the higher worlds. A lot of the angels did. And all the people that claim they work with angels are all the angels in the Bible. There's 9 mentioned in the Bible, people. All right. And in Revelations, it talks that there are hundreds of angels out there. So why would you have to pick one that's super famous? It's like saying, I'm going to get the president to come to my house to talk to. No, you're not. And you think they go to anybody that calls them? Angels work with people's character, personality, their karma. And that's why they're working with that soul. It's not like they can go to anybody. They have their own awareness, own level of attainment that they attained. So it's not like they can work with everybody. And everybody's vibrating different. If you know a person's spiritual name, you'll be able to tell by saying it how spiritual or what their vibration is. But people don't even do that or understand that even. So there's so much going on right now, and very few people are looking for anything important in life. Drugs, drinking, smoking, anything to hide from the truth. Marriage, well, that doesn't change anything. Maybe amount of sex you have or things like that, but does it change much else? Oh, I could have 10 children. Can you take care of 10 children? You know, in other countries, they don't have precaution. They're not taught about it as well. So, yeah, they have children, multiple children, and those children are forced to be slaves and workers to get money. Different ways. So, are we the best we can be? You decide. We're not. Are we ever going to be? Not on planet Earth. All right. I've been here on this planet for a long time. And over the past years, I met a little shaman. I call him my little shaman because he made me look at something that I never looked at. I went in his store. He sold gems and he was a locksmith. And he was a real little guy. That's why I call him little. All right. What about Brinkley's book? Here's the thing, people. When I met him, we talked, and then we started talking about leaving the body and being out of the body. Well, he says, if it's so beautiful and you're out of the body, why are you coming back? I couldn't answer him. I had to think about that. It took me a while to work through that idea. If you get a chance ever to leave your body, travel. The astral plane's better than here. All right. But how much better? All right. Now, when you go past the astral plane, it's multiplied by 1,000 how much better it gets. When you're in a reality where there is no pain, suffering, can't kill people, and it's a different kind of reality because you are gifted with multiple abilities and things. You got to think about what would you care to be doing? Now, your sex changes. You don't become male or female anymore later on. The astral plane, you can stay male or female. But a lot of times when you reincarnate, you can't decide. Just because you're a male and you're coming back, you can't say I have to come back as a male. Your karma determines what you come back as. And I'm telling you, if you hurt a lot of women, you're going to come back as a woman. You hurt a lot of men, you're going to come back as a man. And then on top of that, the condition you're going to be living in. Karma is like a blueprint of what's going to happen in your life. Good, bad, or indifferent. And no, you can't wish it away. You can't just make it disappear. You can't say, oh, I'm a sixth-dimensional being. And suddenly you're this super being. No, it's not going to happen. Mankind lives in a delusionary world. Somebody put up, what about the book? Brinkley, Clear karma. You can't clear karma, people. Don't believe the lies. Don't believe the stories. Psychics and spiritual healers cannot take away your karma. You may think they do, but if it's pain, you can eliminate pain through your mind for a while. Karma doesn't disappear. Nobody can just wave a wand over you and make it disappear. Neither can you. Karma means payback, period. All right, Jesus spoke about it, but it's not in the Bible either. Buddha spoke about it. But Buddha didn't go past the astral plane because he never said anything beyond the one consciousness. Never dealt with God. And to me, that's the only important thing that you'll ever have to learn to deal with in any lifetime. People, I'm not here to make money. I'm not here to pull woolly over your eye. I'm not trying to make you believe something that's not true. I give you 100% truth of what I believe and know when I speak to you. I'm accountable for everything I say. I'm here to defend everything I say. I don't run and hide, ever. People, you want the truth, you need to find it. I can only guide you ways to get to it. And then you'll have to prove things to yourself, like how to get out of your body, which is really important and critical. Where you go when you leave it, how you get there, and all those kind of things. What you deserve when you get there. What do you think you deserve? I was good all my life. What's good to you may not be good to anybody else. And karma, does people really know what karma is? Well, in my past life, I beat 10 people up, so I have to get beat up. Or, no, you can pay karma off in different ways. Scenario, a person I know directly flooded a city. What kind of karma could you pay to pay that off? Think about it. Get flooded and drowned, that's not enough to pay for a whole city drowning. The amount of people you hurt and do wrong to and things like that create more mountains of karma for you to deal with. Playing with aliens is the most idiotic, ridiculous idea because they're not here to save mankind. Never were. Never helped mankind. So where we going? Where are you going? What are you going to do? The truth is hard. The lies are easy. It's easy to follow a lie. It's hard to follow the truth. With that, people, I'm going to say goodbye. It's always a pleasure to be here. I do the best I can. I'm open in the Skype to talk. I'd rather talk than type. But if you'd rather email me, text me, or whatever, that's your choice. But I don't run from my attackers. If you noticed, a couple weeks ago, I was attacked by my ex-friend. Sorry, I don't know what his problem is, but he disappears. Like, he went out into the woodwork, became rich, I guess, saying like he got money from the government. He won't admit it. But when we used to go out in the field, they go, if the government ever gave me a lot of money, I'd walk away from this. Oh, really? And suddenly we did a show for 9 months on Kerry Cassidy. We showed pictures of UFOs and everything else. And then we got into a fight over a person who he doesn't like. And then he disappeared. He pulled everything down off the internet. All the shows he did, all the things. And he changed his name. Tell me, people, think about this. I don't want to say his name. But if you use I am God, like David Wilcock did when he went on TV the first time, said I'm God. Well, when you come out and say that, what are you going to use to back that up? Words don't back it up. Jesus proved everything he said and did and showed it. Anybody else in history have not. All right. Now, Jesus was the most important spiritual person ever to come to this planet. He actually opened up the idea of love, which didn't exist. It's only 2,000 years old, people. But how did he show it? He didn't say, let's get in a class, I'm going to teach you how to love somebody. You can't. He showed it. And how he showed it was through Mary Magdalene. I'm not going to get into the truth about it. I was there. I was a female in that lifetime. I'm completely aware of that lifetime. completely aware what they did to Jesus, what happened, and all the things. His disciples were ready to leave and go their different ways after Jesus was killed. They didn't believe what he was saying. They didn't understand what he was saying. Mary Magdalene had to teach him. She was the second, to me, the most spiritual woman to ever walk this planet. And religions don't even respect that. Well, in France, they believe it. They believe she was important. They got a skull in a temple. They said her skull is probably the most sacred, powerful artifact on the planet. So guess what? It's the United States that pulled away, and it's people that run religions that pull away. Don't forget, Mary Magdalene was everything except a spiritual person for the first 100 years. And the priests and ministers, rabbis, whatever, rewrote it and changed it to she was a sleazy, this, that, and the other thing, were afraid of women, which men are still today. And I think that all became from the idea that the Adam and Eve story, where man was created and woman was created out of him. It's not a true story either. So you could believe what you want, follow what you want, but the truth is there. Is it going to help you attain awareness of God? That's what Jesus came here for. Nothing else. Not to take away all your sins and all your problems, because you still have them. But Jesus told his people, don't come back again. You know the truth, now you have to live in it. But who followed through with that either? Moses did not follow the 10 Commandments. People, when you are in front of or next to a spiritual being, you'll know it. Children ran to Jesus. I mean, there's a famous book out, Children Didn't Go Near Jesus. Oh, yes, they did. They knew that he was coming to town. They were on the streets waiting for him. But people, you'd rather listen to some guy, well, I'm a writer. I wrote 10 books. So I wrote 4. And nobody wants to read them because they don't like anything I say. People don't like the truth. People love lies. People love things that sound good. The world is not in a good place, people. Oh, it's beautiful. Everything's getting better. What? Technology? Technology's getting worse, people. Electric cars are going to still need to be charged by gasoline. People, you hear one thing. The ozone. Remember that word when it was being destroyed? It still is. But they said Freon destroys ozone. I worked with scientists years ago. Freon does not go above. It doesn't. It's heavier than air, so it can't rise up into the atmosphere and stratosphere. The ridiculous statements they force you to believe, like fluoride was good for your teeth. Poison? It's sure not good in your body. All the things you were fed, you believed. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not saying I'm going to give you a cure. All I will tell you, peroxide is an incredible thing in the body. It can do miracles. Hydrogen peroxide, boric acid also. In other countries, they use it to fight cancer and things. But, the United States can't. That would take away the medical industry. Imagine eliminating cancer. Wow, that would be a problem. All the money's made by that. So people, look, the truth's there. Are aliens going to bring it to you? What are they going to tell you? What could they tell you to make you feel good? You're going to go to heaven and you'll be in with God. They don't know God. There's a couple videos together of alien or interrogation. Watch it. It's real, people. I'm giving you my word that it's real. All right. Now, it's an alien telling his truth. Does he know the whole truth of anything? He's not God either. So what he says is pretty important, but what he doesn't say is more important. All right. So again, he tries to explain how the earth was created. Was he there? No. He knows what they were told. And I dealt with somebody that was one of the 6 people that came from Venus, claiming she came here at 6 and all that other stuff. But again, they don't know Jesus. Their story is kind of, well, he was an alien and blah, blah, blah. People, unless you're there, you're not going to know much at all. I mean, I'm going to be 70 in a couple months. All right. I was a Christian. We're going to become a preacher and all that stuff. I'm a reverend right now. But do people want to hear the truth? What Jesus was, who he was, what he came here for? He never, ever said he was God. Never tried to be God. He was teaching how to go to God. I'm going to teach you how to go to me. I mean, one sentence in the Bible was created by a man writing it, where it kind of makes it sound like that's what he said, but it wasn't. He's the way because he knew the truth. All right, people, I know you don't want to hear religion on top of UFOs or aliens, but it's all connected one way or another. Aliens destroyed Atlantis, the only time the human race was spiritual. But again, people don't want to know that. I'll prove it and all this. I said, well, it doesn't matter. You don't have to believe it. One day, one reincarnation, you'll come back and you'll say, I want the truth, and start looking for it. But it's not here. It's not on planet Earth, people. If you can't leave your body, you will never experience the truth. I'm not talking about astral projection. Remote viewing or things like that. Astral projection only means you can only go to the astral plane. Not further than that. You can't go past the gods, the deities, and all those words that exist in those realms. There is only one real God. God created little gods, which is called deities. All right? But people aren't ready for that either. Hinduism believed it, knew it, but they were into sex. Go back to that time frame. Kundalini energy, Kama Sutra. All it was, sex. Shiva came down, cut his thing off, and they worshipped it. I mean, it was all about sex. And that's not how you find God. Getting in a sexual position with a person and stimulate your energy and you're going to see God? No, not really, not ever. You can believe what you want. Do hallucinating drugs. I'll see God. No, you won't. God doesn't come into hell. And that's where you are. People, love and light, compassion, whatever you need in your life, hope you find it. Don't stop looking. Don't give up. If you don't like me, that's fine, but search for the truth for yourself. It's there and you need to find it. God is real. Jesus was real. Jesus was not an alien. But outside of that, spiritual people, Egyptians, Mayan, Aztecs, didn't have a spiritual person. What's spiritual mean? Only one thing, people. And I'll let you try to figure it out for yourself. When you're ready, I'll do a workshop and you can come to it. But outside of that, figure it out. What does it really mean? Peace, love. Till next time, from the Big Island of Hawaii.